live. Hello, everybody. We're live today. And today's a every day is a good day, right? But for today, I'm thinking about a whole lot of things that are just going through my mind because it's that time of the year. But I think one of the biggest things for me is about trust, trust and courage. Because now I've always got a reason for everything, right? And I'm thinking trust and courage because we're talking to, Dino's here. Of course. Hello, Dino. I'm sorry.
Hey.
And Dino's going on a quest, right, to start his speaking career and to do all these beautiful things and to do his show, tell everybody about his book that everyone knows anyway, but doing face to face. So what I was thinking about was, how do you trust? And how do you trust to know that you're on the right path? And how do you have the courage to follow that path? And how do you know that's the right path? So those are my thoughts for today. What are yours, Dino?
Wow. Just three open-ended questions. Thanks, Carina. I mean, that's great. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. But come on, we need some kind of challenge. Otherwise, it gets boring, right?
Well, challenge. Okay, so to answer all three questions with complete candor, you don't, right? But if you believe in yourself enough and you have this, almost like you're compelled to, this burning thing in you, that you have to follow a certain path or you have to do a certain thing. It feels right. It's belief that, obviously isn't tangible. You can't describe it really. How do you know you're going on the right path? Look, you don't, but all along the way on any path you take, I believe that you get signs, almost like driving down a road. There's signs everywhere. Same thing in life. And there's infinite choices with each sign or signal or whatever you want to call it. And you have a choice, right? A predetermined path isn't permanent, okay? A predetermined path isn't permanent. It changes. You adjust and you react. And so if you look at it that way, there's little corrective measures. Just like a plane going off course. Well, you correct 5% or you correct 2%, just minor little changes, right? In your trajectory, makes a big difference. So this is kind of a tough one because I'm sure you're looking for an answer, but there really isn't an answer, right? What's your take on it?
Yes, but it's always interesting to know the difference between that gut feeling and say, okay, I'm going on the right path, or my brain going like, yeah, you're not going on the right path. So it's always that conflict for me, but you never don't really know. So you just put one step in front of the other, I think. I suppose it's having the courage to actually start something and to say, okay, I've written this book, and everyone knows about it anyway. You've sold a lot of copies because it's so transformational for so many people. But I think you get to a point where you need to change, get away, and we've spoken about this a lot of times as well, where you have to get away from social media and actually go out and meet your people, and that will change. But how do you have the courage? A lot of people don't have the courage to do that.
Well, yeah. I'm starting to see that. There's you're pretty brave behind computer keys. And this isn't a slight on anybody. This is just my limited exposure with social anything. Is the mirror has two faces, to quote a movie. Meaning, it would be nice if how you present yourself and who you say you are is authentically really who you are, right? And I'm not knocking anybody. I understand it's braver to say things or post things behind a computer. It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
difficult to go out and say, hey, this is me, or, stand up in front of a crowd and say, okay, you're on, there's 200 people. What are you going to talk about? I don't know. And you're just, it could be terrifying for a lot of people. You have to believe in yourself in all things. I mean, let's just start there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very important, because nothing else works if you don't start there. You mentioned your brain is saying one thing, your gut is saying another. Typically, if you believe in yourself, at the very least, believe in yourself, somehow the brain and the gut are in sync. They don't challenge each other. It's a burning desire. The brain becomes your logic after that. Do you want to do this quickly? Or maybe you should slow down. Do you want to digest the stuff that you've put out there? Or do you want to put out more? I mean, that's logic. It's not saying, no, don't do this anymore, because it believes in your gut. They're in sync.
Yes.
I hope this is making sense, but this is just kind of my twisted take on it. And talking about me, that's where all my experiences come from. So, writing a book, like I mentioned before, it was a burning desire to write a book. I was compelled to write a book. It was more of a healing process for me, as well as my burning belief, which is still burning, that people need that inspiration. People need that hope. People need to reconnect. People need sometimes to go back to the basics, because technology is a great thing, but excuse me, we're missing a huge part of energy that comes from socializing and personal interaction, right? I preach about that all the time, even though I say I don't preach.
Yes.
So initially I wrote my book because I wanted to awaken the millions and millions and millions of people that I thought felt just like me, abandoned, alone, unsure, scared. Remember, there was the COVID, it was right in the middle of a COVID lockdown.
Yeah.
Isolated. And also to my brothers and sisters in arms in the recovery community. I mean, I was I was newly sober, right? Looking for something, some kind of outlet. So that was initially, I mean, not that that's changed. That's still very prominent. And there's millions and millions of people that alone just touches.
Yes.
But then you start finding other reasons, right? Somebody asking, because it's peppered with business. It's peppered with a theme of always moving forward and keep moving forward. So it also, affected the entrepreneur spirit, the business community, those people. Those people that, they try different things. They're very brave. Some fail. A lot of them fail. Some succeed. Some take this wild ride. Some, stick it out. Some, it's like, boom.
Yes.
All those people can also relate. So I didn't start out that way saying, well, this is a book that's going to. That's not what it was about. But again, like anything else, I'm on this path. I'm on my journey. And based on the signs along the road, so to speak, I'm adjusting and reacting, saying, hey, I'm not limiting myself to just recovery. This is bigger than just recovery. This is wellness. It includes depression. It includes anxiety. It includes self-doubt. Huge.
Big one. Big.
It includes the people that say, is this as good as it gets? Happy by all standards. A lot of them, family, friends, home, white picket fence. I'll throw that in there. But, almost like mourning alone, because it's an embarrassing situation to be in. You have everything. Why don't you feel satisfied?
Yeah.
Is this as good as it gets? There's a huge community that I never expected, but I'm like, of course, you don't think about those things when you're doing something that's a burning desire, at least for me.
Yes.
You don't think about those things when you're just going with your gut. You just know it's right? And the signs will tell you, hey, veer this way, veer, just like they're doing to me. One of the signs was, I write a book, it's starting to get traction, and all of a sudden I have self-doubt and I'm in isolation and the world isn't like what I thought it was. And it's less social and less interactive. And oh my God, I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
Do I hide this or do I share it? I chose to share it. Why? Because I figure, you know what? It's great to just write about the good things in your life. It's more brave and honorable, I believe, to write about all things in your life.
Yes.
Look, you can't just show one side. If you're going to be Mr. I'm an open book, then you better open that damn book.
Right.
And so I chose to expose my weak moment or whatever you want to call it. It's okay. I'm the first one to say it. I'm not embarrassed by it. But what I found by doing that, it actually helped. It perpetuated this movement even further because they're like, you know what? This guy isn't full of BS. This is the guy who wrote the book, and this is the same guy who's having a freak out. Wow. Okay. And so that wasn't planned either. So did I know? How do you know you're going down the right path? Again, you don't know, but you use what's in front of you. You use the tools that are in front of you with your signs that are well lit all the time. There's signals. Some of them you'll get spiritual signals. Some of them are just like, it just makes sense. Some of them is just the reaction to your crowd, right? So if I had a commercial and I loved the commercial, of course, I'm going to love it first. And then I spent money to air this commercial on TV and it's playing, expecting sales, and I don't get any. Okay. It should be telling you something. It doesn't mean your product is bad. It just means maybe you got to change your delivery. Maybe you have to change the commercial. Maybe this isn't for commercials. A grassroots movement that's not commercialized is a very powerful movement. Word of mouth, everybody, and Carina, is for me the most powerful marketing machine you can ever possibly think of. It requires no ads in your face. It requires no look at me, look at me. It's just basic people saying, hey, have you heard of this? Have you read this? Have you seen, not just throughout my life. And I've been really blessed to have that grassroots movement. So that tells you something too. That tells you, you know what? Why do I want to go the commercial route when I have people joining this movement every day, every single day? And it's reaching a different audience every single day, a different demographic every single day. It's pretty cool. So you adjust your message. Now, the speaking in Chicago that I'm going to be doing, half of them are business related, have nothing to do with recovery, addiction, hope, inspiration. And so the message, the full message is the same, but you tailor make it for each of your engagements. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to walk into a speaking engagement with a Fortune 500 company and you're just going to say, hey, let me tell you about my road to recovery. Yeah, that's great. You're going to get, but at the end of the day, at the end of the speaking, they have to get something out of it. A lot of people aren't addicted. There may be one or two in the crowd that are probably drunk. I'm kidding, but
maybe
you don't know. But that you have to adjust and react again. So I don't even know if I answered your question, but there you go.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I think you did. But while you were talking, I was thinking of things. Okay, so you started out, and I mean, we've got you can check this out in the playlist. You can see it. Okay, you started out. How do you? I mean, someone will say to you, "Okay, this is great, but how do you get that self-belief? How do you develop that self-belief? How do you develop that confidence to be able to go now, like you're going to now, to stand up in front of 1,000 people, 500 people, whatever it is, and speak and be with conviction, because you know that's the right thing to do. You know that you're in the right place. How do you do that? How do you find that inner belief or courage or whatever it is?
All right. So first of all, if I had this answer in a bottle, trust me, I would sell it. Okay. There's no one answer, and there's, look, I don't want to mislead anybody and say that this is easy all the time. Like, oh, you're just a natural, that word, natural. You may have characteristics that are like a perfect setting, like a perfect recipe to be a natural, but I don't believe you're a natural. Like you just can't. I mean, what we're doing is great, but we've been doing it for a year. But, in paid speaking engagements, you're not just going to go up and be like, you have notes, you rehearse, you think, again, reflecting on my personal experience. So that's the easy part, because I can talk about myself. I know myself best.
Yes, of course.
But to sit there and have these awkward moments when, people have paid to see you, I mean, that's a completely different thing. So how do you get that confidence? Practice. Okay. I've done, I didn't know less than a year ago, I didn't know what Zoom was. Okay. Less than a year ago, I didn't really have any social accounts of my own. Less than a year ago, I never dreamed of having clips on YouTube. Okay. And this is a guy that 25 years ago has been all over the newspapers, has been on Oprah and all that stuff. All right, good for me. But this is a new world.
Yes.
And it's changed, right? And you have to adjust with, the format that you have.
Yes.
But self-belief is rooted, like I've mentioned this a lot of times, goes back to my earliest memory of 7 years old. My father encouraged me, saying, hey, you're going to be a rich man. Some people don't like hearing that or whatever, but, it was meant out of love. I mean, obviously, it's not just money, money, money. It wasn't like that at all. He was a beautiful man to tell me this, my father.
Yes.
But I respected him. I looked up to him. He was a stoic man. He was a strict teacher. He was strict at home, strict at school. Why wouldn't I believe him? But then you test this. It's not just belief. You test it. You grab any positive reinforcement you can. So at 7, right, I noticed that kids my age, kids my brother's age, we all hung around the same group. I mean, they would treat me differently. And at first I thought it was, well, because I'm the teacher's kid, right? And they're students of my dad as well. Why, but that wore off when I left that school and went into a completely different school, a public school, different setting, different city, and the same thing. So, don't be full of yourself, but just understand that, hey, you know what? There's something, people. So that should boost your confidence. That should boost your belief, right? Trying my first business, whether it failed, whether it was successful or whatever, it was cool to see the ability to dream up something, bring in your peers, and discuss and have them feel the same way you feel. So you're bringing them in, and then trying something completely foreign. Give yourself credit for, gratifications, as you go up. I mean, they could be the smallest little thing. Hey, I woke up today. I mean, if that does it for you, put it in the plus column. Not everything you're going to do in life is great. You're not going to hit a home run every single day. You're not. I promise you. But every single day, there are pluses in just basic, simple life that you could put in your plus column. And that is basically continued reinforcement to reinforce self-belief. The more you have, the more you believe in yourself, the more you're not afraid to try different things. I mean, this is a complete evolution. And that's why I'm saying, if I had it in a bottle, I'd sell it. There's no quick answer. There's not how to be confident and successful in 10 days. It just, you know what? They exist. Good luck. And maybe they work for you. They've never worked for me.
I like the list approach. That's something very good, because we tend to forget how much we've done. So it's easy to say, like at the end of a day, oh, you know what, I haven't done this, I haven't done this, I haven't done this. I'm a really bad person because of that. Or I didn't get so much done this week, or whatever it is. So we forget, and for me, it's always about going back, and I always have to remember, hey, you know what? Look how much I've come through just in the 6 years that I've been here in the States. We won't even talk about all the other drama and things that I've overcome before that. And I think it's important to always go back, like you say, and remember those things, as opposed to remembering all the things you haven't done, all the things you think you're bad at, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
And if I can add to what you're saying, it's not just always going back. It's real time at the moment.
Yes.
If you do something just now, like you say a one-liner or a zinger, and it made you feel good, and you'll know the hair stands up, at least for me.
Yes.
And grab that thing and store it in the plus column. It just happened. That's reinforcement too. You don't have to always go back in time to get the reinforcement. It happens all the time, right? So let's not forget that as well.
Yes, that's important. It's always important to be aware of these things, because sometimes we walk through life and we're so caught up in our heads that we don't see what's happening around us, and the good that we're doing, or what's happening, and the miracles that are occurring every day or all the time. So that's also a good thing to remember. So that builds your self-belief. And I like the idea that you said, well, I went out and I started the new business, whatever it is, and then I brought everybody in. A lot of times we have these ideas that we want to start things, but again, we stop ourselves because, hey, what if it fails? What if we get judged for it? What if we're not good enough? What if? So it's about just taking a breath and just taking that leap of faith. And then also your belief grows and grows in yourself.
Yeah. Somebody had a question on Facebook, and, I mean, it's just common stuff. But this one I stopped and looked at, because it was like something about, if you could go back in time and start something about life. And answers were, I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of dying. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of losing my job, whatever. And I just put watching life pass you by. And I thought that was like the common answer that, you'd see over and over again, but you didn't. And so, look, life is really short. If you think about it. And I'm not saying go out there and do crazy bungee jump, skydiving kind of stuff. If that's your thing, it's thrilling and whatever. You don't have to be that kind of a thrill seeker, but you have to learn to get thrills out of simple life as well. Yes. Thrills of sitting down with a friend or a family member, having a cup of coffee, should be just as thrilling in many ways as you jumping out of an airplane. Okay. Bad example probably, but you get the idea. It's when you sit there and wait and say, I'm going to be safe. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to do everything the same. And then when I retire, I'm going to have X amount of money. And when I have X amount of money, I'll be able to do this and this and this and this and this. That is the bucket list. There's a great movie about the bucket list. That is what that's the common common denominator of, everybody's thought process. It was even my thought process. When I retire, I'm not going to do anything. Yeah, right. But,
right.
but I don't know if, obviously you formulate these ideas based on, what you're fed. And these
Yes.
are the ongoing statements that are fed throughout social, before social. Oh,
Yes.
retirement. It's that little place on a nice big hill and this white picket fence and just, two palm trees and a hammock and, a Corona beer. And you're like, ah. And that's great. That's great to think of that. But a minute later, you're going to be like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Now, some people have a great time, going and visiting and traveling and doing all this stuff. But what if you didn't have that time? Is I guess what I'm saying, right? You don't know how long you're here. And I don't want to get all gloomy and doomy and all that stuff. But I mean, the certainty is we're all one day not going to be here. When your time's up, your time's up. What in the time that you have here, what have you lived? Or has it been always planning and hoping and waiting and, so you could still work and go on a trip. Shocker, but you could still do that, right? You could still work and live moments of your life as if you were on vacation. Or feel like as if you were jumping out of an airplane. It's not reserved for ages 65 to 67. Okay. Sorry. Big misnomer. And so when you look at it that way, you understand my post today, which was Seneca. You act like mortals in all that you fear and like immortals in all that you desire. I'm going to conquer the world. I'm going to retire. You have 5 months to live. Oh my God, please help me. Oh no. Right? Where was the praying when I'm going to live? It should be reversed if you ask me. So life is short. Make it count. That's the statement.
Yes.
And that changes your thought process. That should jar any reservations that you have to give you a little more courage, because you know what? If you're waiting and waiting and waiting, maybe it'll never come. And if you have that again, not just, let me dip my toe in the water, but if you have that burning desire to try something, even if you fail, you could say you tried it.
Yes. Yes.
Just do it.
Yes. Yes. Because I think we've only got this moment right now.
Yeah.
We've got the past, we've got the future, but we've only got this moment, and we should treasure it. It's interesting that you were saying there's I saw also some quote, and it's also been going around for so long, about people regret more the things that they haven't done than the things they've done. Because like this business of waiting for retirement, I mean, what are you waiting for? You're putting your life on hold, right? Which is insane, because life is now, and you lose out on all those opportunities, and you lose out.
Starting your fun life doesn't mean taking your entire nest egg that you've worked for and saved and blowing it. I mean, that's not what I'm talking about. But when people equate things that are fun, they equate them for some reason to things that are expensive. Oh, this is going to be expensive. It's fun, but okay, if you go to take a trip to Europe, there's a cost. But if you live in the United States or wherever you live, there's beauty everywhere. Take a drive, just an hour to an hour and a half outside of your home radius, and you'll see beauty, if you really look, that you probably never stopped and looked before. I mean, I live in the United States. I used to fly all the time. My favorite city in a different city was the airport. I mean, you never stop and say, well, let me take a look around here. Let me go grab a coffee at whatever they say is famous. I mean, I didn't have time for that, right? So I used to joke and say that, vacation for me was just a different place to use my telephone. And that was true. How sad that if you look at my passport and you look at my travel bag, if it had stamps of everywhere I've been, you couldn't even see the leather.
Yeah.
But in truth, I can't remember any of those places except for what I was there to do. Have a meeting, get in, get out, mission accomplished, next. And so, you know, have you traveled? Yeah, I have. Have you enjoyed it? No, I haven't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But fun shouldn't always be looked at with a price tag. I mean, fun is free, believe it or not.
Oh, yes, yes.
And
Yes.
so, you know, I think we sometimes deprive ourselves of a lot of fun that we could be having for free with this unrealistic concept that, well, you know what? I'll do that when I retire. Okay. Well, you know, I'm not saying that's bad, but for me, I've come to the realization that I'm never going to retire in one way, shape, or form. I'm going to be giving back. I'm going to be helping. I'm going to be inspiring, but I'm also going to have fun. And I can do all of them at the same time.
Yes.
Believe it or
Yes. Yes. I think it depends on what you believe fun is. I mean, for me, having an ice cream is fun. Walking on the beach is fun.
Well, we're not going to compare whose fun is more fun.
No,
If
I'm
it's
saying
fun to
that
you,
for me, it
yeah, if
depends
it's
what
fun to
believe
you,
is
it's fun. You know what I mean? It just depends how you look at things. But again, back to your initial statement, I believe you were talking about belief or you know, how you worded it. But, you know, it all starts with practice and, you know, giving yourself that instant gratification in the plus column. Keep adding those pluses. You could think you had a completely ineffective discussion or a completely ineffective post or conversation, or whatever it is, right? And then just when you think, oh my God, what a loser, you know, you get like this one message or this one comment that says, hey, I loved what you had to say. And, you know, typically, if you're in that kind of business, you'd be like, wow, that's the only person. I don't look at it that way. I'm just like, wow, all right, I'm going to take that and I'm putting it in the plus column. Okay. So it doesn't matter how, you know, you don't need 10,000 people to say that, to put something in the plus column. All it takes is just one good feeling and put it in the plus column.
Mm.
And that just keeps reinforcing your self-belief, right?
Yes. Yes, yes. That's important because I've also discovered that the more self-belief you've got, the more confidence you've got.
Of course.
You also people start getting attracted to you as well, and you. It's easier to give more as well. So it's just a beautiful flow of things.
As long as you don't get your ego in the way, you're all right, right? But
Yeah, well, you have to make sure of that. But I
what
think
happens is you establish a consistent reputation for being equated with a certain feeling. And if you make people feel good, or if you make people feel hopeful, if you make people feel inspired or energetic or brave, they're going to want to come back for that dose of daily feeling. As long as you're consistent,
yes,
right? And I'm not telling anybody how to do anything. Okay, this is their lives. I'm just talking about me. What I found is if this is my burning desire, if this is the path I've chosen, if this is my mission, this is my mantra, this is my goal, then I have to consistently provide that. I'd love to post jokes about silly things and stuff, and I probably can. I don't want to be so, you know, get so big of a head like, oh, I only do serious posts. But I really believe that people need that hope and inspiration and bravery and all the wonderful things that are associated with it. And believe it or not, people look forward to that daily message, or people look forward to that daily talk, or people look forward to, you know, my recovery chats with people. You know, it's amazing. Does that make me great? No, it just makes me very aware of what I want and what I have to do to continue it.
yes,
It's that balance between gut and brain that when you're in sync, you're in sync. Will I have an off day and get booed? Yeah. You know, throw things at the stage. Yeah, I'm kidding. But, you know, I'm not going to hit zingers every single time I talk, right? Just like everybody else. But, you know, I always go back to, you know, tomorrow's another day. This is what I feel. This is my burning desire. This is my mission. Given that those things are still true, this is what I have to do. This is who I have to touch. This is how I have to be. This is what I have to expose. And there's no subject, as far as I'm concerned, that's taboo. I mean, I'm not going to get into my personal family stuff and, you know, all that, but, you know, discuss your feelings, good ones and bad ones, as long as it helps with your mission, right? Adjust and react, and you keep following that burning desire, that road, that journey. It changes. It's never the same, but you adjust.
Yes. And also I like that. But I also find that what makes it easier is because you know what you want. You have a vision. You know where you want to go, even though it adjusts. And you know what? You have one vision. One of my most favorite sayings is, "Man plans and God laughs," right? But you have to keep that in mind when you on your path. So just like you just like have to go with the flow, watch the signs, strategize. I mean, and just yes, go where you need to go. And that gives you confidence as well, and self-belief as well. I want to I mentioned trust at the beginning as well, and I'm just going to touch on it. Trust, as in trusting yourself, and again, it's a part of self-belief. But I want to just take it to one little step further, where you say, okay, trust in a bigger divine God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. Does that have an impact on your self-belief? Or is it about just trusting yourself and trusting and knowing where you need to go and hearing the call, which is also from the divine anyway, within you?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm definitely a fan of the spiritual. Some people, especially even in, you know, the 12 steps or some recovery programs, they don't believe in that. And you hear them say, well, if you don't believe in a spiritual, believe in a tree, believe in yourself, believe it with, you know, whatever it is. I'm not going to sit there and challenge and talk about, you know, spiritual transcends all religions and politics. Let's just put it that way. And I'm very comfortable saying that.
Yes, I agree.
But most of the monumental things that we do in life are based on things that we can't see, yet we believe. That's called faith. That's called trust in the unknown, right? Trust in yourself, trust in your inner self. I mean, it's really funny. Most people are like, well, show me this and I'll do this. Show me that this investment over this much time is going to be this. I want to see charts. I want to see graphs. Guess what? This is one that you can't see, right? I'm not going to get a chart or a forecast on me. Well, let me see the report on Dino so I can find out if I'm following the right investment plan. Who knows? You don't know. Let's just, it could go this way. It could go this way. And you know what?
Yes.
Bring it.
Yes.
I'm prepared for both of them. Bring it. That's all I got to say. But it's that belief in the unknown, belief in the unseen that just keeps you going. For me, it's spiritual. If it is for you, great. You understand what I'm saying? Hopefully everybody understands what I'm saying. It's hard to explain. These are very... I'm not going to say vague, but these are very open. And it's like a sociology class, Carina, the questions you're asking today. There's no right answer.
No.
You just go around in a circle and you just say what you say. And everybody's like, okay, that's good. And there's me in college, the one semester that I went. And I'm just like, that's it? There's no answer? Everybody just went around and gave a different opinion? That's it? I never went to sociology again. It's just a round robin of just ifs. You know what I mean? But now I get it. Now I can laugh about it. But back then I wasn't really laughing.
I think that's generally what life's about, right? We
Yeah.
each decide what we want out of our lives, and we must just have the courage to do what we want and accept that everyone has their own opinion about stuff and everyone has their own paths, and just trust it and no judgment, I suppose.
No. Well, you know what? But be prepared. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this subject. People are going to laugh at you. People are going to make fun of you. People are going to avoid you. People will think you're crazy. I've heard all of them. And actually, over time, I've learned to almost like double dog dare you. Just tell me I can't do something, please. You know, for me, it's fun. I know it's bad, but I'm competitive. You can't take that away from me. Come on. But be prepared for people not to agree with your message or your statement or your mission. And that's okay. So when I'm saying look for signs in the reaction. Like, you know, you may have something powerful to say, but you just say it wrong because you weren't really prepared, you didn't have an outline, it was your first time, you were nervous. It could be all those things, right? Do you just scrap your message, or you just say, you know what, let me just adjust it a little bit and let's try again, right?
Yes.
One key point, you try again. Two key point, you adjust it, right? You change your delivery, not the message, okay? Those two things, they're great. But let's not make the mistake of the first bad review that I get is going to make me just stop selling my book or speaking. Okay? Stop looking for outside sources for validation and start looking from within for the validation and belief. Yes. Because you're going to be, if you're looking for external, you're going to be taking on this long sociology class that never ends. Trust me.
Yeah.
And everybody comes with, you know, I'd like to say sincere statements and comments. Let's just not say they do it for bad purposes, but in their own way. That's the only way they can relate. So they'll give you advice, which probably doesn't fit, but it's the best sincere advice they can give you. If you listen to every single person, you're just like, who am I?
Yes, okay? Yes.
And that's not what we're talking about with look at the signs. Reinforcement comes from within. It doesn't come from external. It's great to get people that clap after you're speaking. It's great to get a great review. It's great to get 5 stars and comments, likes, hits, twits, whatever you call them. But at the end of the day, that's, to me, gravy or whipped cream and a cherry on your ice cream. It's not the reason that I'm doing it. Mm-hmm. Okay? Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once you do that validation, once you know who you are and you do the work, those external validations are great, but they don't mean as much, and you can just wipe it off. So then it's easier to be able to cope with the negative, because you're going to get haters. You're going to get people who decide they don't like your book, or they don't like, or they
call them haters. You know, I know it's easy to say, well, if you don't like what I have to say, if you don't like what I wrote, you're a hater. That's not a hater to me. You know, it's just somebody who just doesn't resonate with my message or what I'm about. That's okay. A hater is just somebody who just like, and I've had this happen, just jumps on Facebook and just posts a completely unrelated picture on my Facebook. And I'm like, you know, all right, you know, if you're not part of this specific conversation and you're in my Facebook world, I'm going to delete it. Yeah, I can do that. Thank God I can do that. You know, it doesn't make sense. That's a hater, or that's just somebody who's delusional. Like, what are you doing? I mean, you want to make a statement, It's a free speech. God bless that. And, do it on your own post. But if you're going to come and do it on mine, I have a choice. I could delete it. That to me is closer to a hater. Just somebody who doesn't like my book is not really a hater. It's just somebody that just doesn't like my book, right? It could come like that. So don't look at everybody around you that doesn't agree with you as people who hate you. That's a strong word.
Yeah, it is a strong word, but I think it's just I'm falling into the words of the day. So yes.
But you see how you already were conditioned to use those words very loosely.
I know, right?
And the word hate is a very strong word.
It is.
But we use it today. Oh, you're a hater. I get it. It's slang and stuff. I use it too sometimes. But I don't call people who don't read my book haters, because then that starts working on me. See, this is all about protecting my perfect, harmonious brain and gut. I'm not going to let pollutants cloud that or destroy that. And so you protect your universe. Do you become a hermit? No. Do you not talk to people and avoid social interaction and contact? No. That's not what I'm talking about. But what you learn to do is respect that other people have their own opinions and they are free to formulate them, and their feeling is not going to wreck my day. In fact, it's more challenging for me to figure out what it is that's not working or not connecting so that I could get better in my craft.
Yes.
So if we're going to, they're not really haters, but I love haters. If you're going to use it that way, because it gives me insight into possibly changing the delivery to connect to a wider audience.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So it's about perception. So if you look at it in that way, so they're saying something, and if you retaliate, that's pointless. But if you look at it and you say, okay, I can learn something from this, or if it's like totally useless, oh well, you know what, just send them love and let them move on. But I think what the main message here for me is that you don't internalize it. You just leave it to where it is. Take the message if you can, use it for your own, to grow yourself, to learn with it about yourself, move on.
Yeah, most people that make a derogatory comment to you, or now the new thing, a derogatory emoji, whatever you want to call it, they don't give it a second's thought at night. They're not sitting there saying, hey, I sent that emoji to Dino and oh man, that was a Z. I'm pretty sure I'm not even an afterthought in their mind. Why should I take that baggage with me at night? Oh, why did they send that? I don't understand. I did everything right. Let me just reread the post. Do I delete the post? Should I change the post? For one person?
No.
What, are you kidding me?
No.
You got to just stand with your message, stand with your beliefs, stand with your convictions, and you know what? Let the chips fall where they may. If you're doing the right things, you will gain traction, you will gain following, you will gain people that expect that feeling from you whenever you're around.
Yes.
If that's your mission, you're on the right track. The 1, 2, 3, 10, 100, I don't care, that say, you know what? I don't like you. Okay. I've heard worse, trust me. It's okay. But at the end of the day, when I go to bed and I make my wish list for the next morning, let's not forget that from a previous episode.
Yes.
I sleep with my head rent-free of other people's comments, garbage, statements, emojis, or whatever the new term is of the flavor of the day or week. It's not worth me having it in my head. For what? It's just,
Yes.
It's worthless.
Yes. And then all it does, it just pollutes your mind, and it makes you feel bad, and it destroys your day. And for what? Yes, exactly.
I won't allow it. So let's use new terms of the day. I'm learning. So I think this is just kind of funny. But, the Facebook has this tag review. So if somebody decides to tag me and 99 other people or whatever they do now, because they're going, so-and-so is traveling to the gym, I'm going to tag Dino. Yeah. What do I, why am I at this gym? I don't, but that happens. And everybody watching probably has experienced that. And I think it's funny, but I have this tag review. So just because you tag me doesn't mean it's going to post, right? Pretend your brain has that tag review. So every time somebody wants to tag you with a kiss of negativity or a bad comment or those haters, it's a tag review. It's saying, whoa, wait a minute. You're not coming into this brain.
Right.
You're out.
Yes.
You have to protect yourself. Protect your sobriety at all costs. Protect your life with all cost, right? Protect your mission at all costs. I mean, it just makes sense. You can't just let everybody into every fiber of you. You know what I mean? It comes with a privilege. It comes with restrictions. It comes with boundaries. Yes. That's not being standoffish. That's not being pompous. That's just protecting my life.
Yes.
And I have the right to do that.
Yes. And that comes with self-belief. And that comes with internal, it's an internal thing where your time's precious and you're not going to let people just come into your life willy-nilly and just do whatever, because it's your life. And you have to protect your heart.
It all works hand in hand, then, doesn't it? It all works hand in hand. I mean, these are exercises that could take a lifetime to master. They could take a week or, I don't know. I don't have a crystal. I'm not going to lie and say, you do these things for a week and, oh, my God. Maybe you will. But I'm just saying, school of hard knocks, not formally educated. And I can say that because it's me. But, I've experienced all of this. It's just practice to be made fun of for vocalizing your dreams, even to your peers, to your friends, the people you grew up with, and be made fun of. I mean, that really scarred me as a kid. I mean, it just affected me. I was driven by hate and rage to prove them wrong. And then one day I'm like, well, I'm successful and I'm still worried about proving them wrong. Who cares? Do you think they remember what they did? No, it was just kids being kids. Yeah. So why am I carrying around this baggage for the rest of my life? Let it go. So when you stop doing things for others to see or for others to react to or, whatever, the accolades, and you start doing things for yourself as I'm a finely tuned machine. I'm here to be happy. I'm here to have a purpose. I'm here to have a mission. I'm here. Second chances, I better make every second count. Okay, that's me, right? I've gone past 9 lives of a cat, trust me. So I'm grateful to be here. At the end of the day, isn't it fair to want to protect my finely tuned machinery?
Yes, of course.
And that's all I'm saying. And it's not everybody is a finely tuned machine. Everybody should look at themselves that way. Everybody should protect what goes in them and what comes out of them.
Yes.
Just like a tag protector in Facebook.
Yes. Yes.
I've waited a long time to use that, and I'm using it because this is like, this social stuff is just, it's funny sometimes, but it's the new way people communicate. This the new, and I wish they didn't. I wish they'd go out and meet people. And I know some people live across the world and some people live in different states and stuff. But you know what? There's a thing called travel, and people do drive and people do fly, and there's still trains and buses and all the things that happened years before social became popular. They still did, believe it or not. Right. There's things called the telephone where you can hear a voice. Now it's even better. It's accentuated by FaceTime. So you can actually see the person, right? But there's a lot of people that don't want that. There's a lot of people that just want the like, they just want the love, they just want the comment, they want the heart. I get it. It just, these little things that make you feel good for a little time, for a little while. But ask these same people that only want that, hey, let me FaceTime you. Let me take a picture of us together. Oh, no. I have to filter it first, or whatever happens. I mean, it's sad, but I get it. And so what I'm going to say next is for everybody who wants to look at the same thing and just understand why I sometimes think a different way. All those things I just said, I look at it as job security if I had a job, right? Because these little finesses, these little things, these little stuff, the human interaction, the confidently having face-to-face discussions, shaking hands, and talking on the phone, believe it or not. All these things, the longer we go on, are things that this younger generation will one day say, what was it like talking on the phone? I mean, think about it. It's getting there. So they will refer back to what they call OG, original gangsters, for wisdom and guidance and advice. And that's why the way I look at it is this is job security, because I'm part of the old school method that, believe it or not, right now, there's a generation that doesn't even remember this stuff.
Yeah.
And are willing to book you to hear it, which, I mean, good for me, but it's kind of sad, right?
Yes.
So don't let technology just, take over what you were given is just these beautiful gifts. Don't rely on just technology. I mean, you got to interact with people. I know I veered off a little bit, but I found it very, very important to say that, because I'm starting to see even phone calls are difficult to make. People would rather email you, text you, direct message you, anything but pick up the phone and actually talk. And I just find that amazing. And not in a good way. But anyway, that's me.
No. Yeah, it's very interesting to see what's happening. But we have to be the change, right? So like you're going out and you sharing the message, and people will come and realize the importance, I think, because unless you actually experience it, you don't know it.
No, you don't. And actually, I'm not changing, ironically. I may change my delivery. I may change the mediums for a new world, because you got to reach them if they don't read about you in the paper, because they don't read papers anymore. If they don't watch TV anymore, and all they know is live stream and socials and stuff like that, you know what? Whether you like it or not, this is the new world. These are the platforms that you have to, at least at the very basic level, understand, not necessarily master. I don't think I ever will, but that's okay. But the message is the same. I'm not changing my message. The message has always been the same. The message will continue to be the same.
Yeah.
The delivery may have to change. These are the signs, the signals on the road. Hey, Dino, this isn't 25 years ago. People Magazine is not going to come to your door. Cameras are not going to come to your face. Okay, those things are over. This is a different world. What's Zoom? I don't like it. Like it. Whatever you like about it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's what people watch. That's what people will do. Podcasts. That's the popular thing. For me, it used to be radio. Now it's podcasts. Why? Because the world doesn't work 9 to 5 anymore. There was once a time where the most traffic was at 8 o'clock in the morning and at 5 o'clock at night. Now there's traffic, especially in Chicago, right? Now there's traffic all the time. It tells you something. It tells you that people work different hours. They have different schedules. They meet at different times. So it's not this 9 to 5 world anymore. You have to adjust to it, right? But the message is the same.
Yes.
That's conviction. That's belief. That's gut. Is saying, no, I got a winning message. I just have to find a way for people to hear it.
Yes. Yes.
And that's a great way to wrap up your initial statement. How's that? Man.
I think so too. Very good. Thank you, Dino. Now, I'd like to just wish you, just wish you a beautiful Chicago trip. And
Oh,
of
it's going
course,
to be
safe
great.
travels.
It's overloaded, and I like that. But it's going to be fun. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff I'm happy to be part of. But again, I mean, catching up with some old friends is
It's
top
fun.
on my list, and catching up with family that I still have in Chicago is right there. So I can't
Nice.
wait. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. I mean, that's perfect. You're having work, a balance, fun, family. It's going to be a
All of
beautiful.
that. All of that.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I
Okay.
enjoyed this very much. Thank you. I hope I didn't veer off too much, but I think we covered an important topic. And thank you for bringing it up. And whoever's watching, direct message me if you're in Chicago, and I'll be able to see my schedule and see if we can connect.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Dino. Safe travels. And we'll see you next week, right?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everyone who was watching. And we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.